What is going on, everyone? AP over here at Run Pure Sports, bringing to you. We got the Lineup Builder Show. I'm here with my guy Rubio. Another Monday, another slate to break down tonight. Showdown slate. We're going to be talking the Broncos at Bills. Broncos obviously coming off what I would consider a Super Bowl-esque type of win over division rivals Chiefs 2 weeks ago. They're coming off a bye. And the Bills, obviously kind of up and down season. They're 5-4, 3-6 against the spread, coming off against a loss against the Bengals. Bengals looked really good until yesterday. That team is one that will continue to baffle me. But let's get it going. Let's start by looking at yesterday's slate. And I asked you to pull up the contest flashback for the Showdown slate last night because Sunday we had NBA going on. Obviously, we had the games going on as well yesterday. I pull up the show and, was in chat, and I'm like, I'm going to run a wild script. Like, I bumped up kickers really high. I bumped up defenses really high. I probably was a little too high on the running backs. I think it was close to a break-even slate. But how was the Showdown slate for you last night? I mean,
it wasn't bad. Mayer catching the touchdown really saved me. I'll tell you, I was kind of tilting early because I didn't have much Devontae at all. I wasn't that high on anyone outside Brees Hall and Jacobs and the captain. And sure enough, we ended up getting there. The Mayer touchdown helped a lot. The Jets defense forcing 2 turnovers, getting 3 sacks or whatever too. I mean, they did really well. And if you just had one of the kickers, I mean, you didn't need Devontae Adams to cash and stuff. And at the end of the day, it was all about trying to get yourself a great floor and run good. We gave ourselves a great floor, that's for sure. And, last night's slate, people were talking about how the defense was so high owned and stuff. And, there wasn't a defense in the optimal team. So it's always worth getting a little bit different. I know some members had really good days yesterday too, hitting on it and, getting Zach Wilson in there too ended up being optimal. You don't have to completely play chalk all the time. It's nice to see. And I see your builds here, too. You had very similar stuff to what I had.
Look at me being a donkey, being on mute. I had, in hindsight, I was so high on Devontae Adams the last Showdown slate they were on when Aiden O'Connell started. And I still had exposure to him yesterday. I don't think I was high on him as I should have been, obviously, but they started out peppering him early. And, the one thing we talked about, the way to attack both teams was at the running back position. I was maybe a little too aggressive on the running backs, not giving enough love to the receivers, Wilson, obviously, and Adams. Overall, I liked my script. Maybe it was a little too high on the defenses that were chalk, but I guess my point was, it was one of those games where how the season has gone, what the matchup was, it just set up to be a glorified kicker slate, which it was. And it's like sometimes, even though you're eating chalk at that position and the kickers defenses were probably a little bit overowned. I don't know, man. Sometimes it's just, you have a read on slate. You just got to do it, right? You just got to go with it. What was the script that you ran yesterday?
The script I ran was just defense heavy, running back heavy, and I just realized that the shows were not public on YouTube, so I'm fixing that right now real quick.
I wondered. We have 6 watching, and we'll get that figured. I'm like, man, we've been doing this all? I'm like, that's the lightest number of viewers that we've had. We got Josh D in the chat though. We appreciate Josh D. What's going on, my man? As Rubio gets that fixed, it's all good. But moving to tonight, I really hope because last night the optimal did not include a quarterback, right?
The optimal did not have Zach Wilson in there. I think Tyler Conklin might have passed Zach Wilson on the final drive. That's what it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, and so we've now had 3 main showdown slates in a row: Thursday, Sunday morning, Sunday night. No quarterback captain optimal, and then maybe what was last Monday? I can't remember back that far, but I hope people continue with that trend. I really do. I hope people can, because now we get the Bills, we get one of the when you look at the past optimals sheet that we post that I do, and yesterday time, it was a busy day. We had NBA. It was actually a bit for a Sunday. It was a big NBA slate, and there was two. There was a 2-game slate and then like a 7-game main slate. So we were tackling that, but the optimal sheet is up. And one thing we like about the Bills is Josh Allen is optimal at a very high rate in the flex and captain spot, or opposing quarterbacks too against this Bills team. So we should see a different script tonight. And so I'm excited to break this game down with you as well, Rubio. Anything else that you want to hit on looking at the contest flashback?
Nothing really else too much. I mean, it was really nice to get on board with the Mayor First Touchdown, that Big T, and I were on for that Sunday night show, and we're giving away a $100 ticket next show that we do since that hit. So yeah, make sure you guys watch that Sunday night Showdown show. I know some people might not have the time and stuff, so we might do a DraftKings contest for the members, and just a winner take all $100 contest tickets. So it should be fun.
Yeah, very good. That was awesome. Sunday weekends, you got to put in the time, and we understand that not everyone is able to follow everything, and so we try to set the content up to make it as easy as possible with the core plays and with the different style of content pieces that we have. The tournament player pool sheet for Showdown and for main slates. We try to keep it easy, but then the bets product too has been absolutely smashing. I mean, Big T with like 50 units yesterday. I mean, absolutely crushed. Obviously, the Mayor touchdown, helped that out, but he had moneyline dog calls. Like, I think he only lost one bet. So absolutely insane day from our guy Big T. And I was in the NBA streets as I always am, auto betting certain teams overs. One of them is the Wizards. And now I made my first mistake. My first mistake is, or one rule I have, and no matter who it is, early tips on Sunday for NBA, you never bet that over. You just don't. Like, those games are insane. And when the game started, I was like, oh shit. I'm like, that game's already tipping off. I'm like, that's a loss right away. I mean, what?
I literally thought the same thing when I saw that on your thing, and I'm like, well, I must have missed that game. And I saw a start, and I'm like, AP bet a Sunday afternoon over, and I didn't know that was one of your rules too. But I was like, man,
it is a hard rule of mine, and for some reason, I thought it was like the 5 p.m. tip or something like that, which ended up being the Pacers game, which easily hit over. But it was a fine day in the NBA streets. It was actually pretty close to taking down the 555. I think it finished 7th or 8th. So it was a nice night in the NBA streets. Made up for my losing NFL main slate day. The streak continues for me. Luckily, we have Showdown, and Showdown's been very profitable for us this season. And so let's get this slate kicked off. We have the Bills. Dawson Knox continues to be out. Talk to us first about the injury situation that we have on board between the Broncos and Bills tonight.
Yeah, obviously Dawson Knox being out, we've seen a huge surge with Dalton Kincaid. He's been crushing the last couple of weeks. I don't really expect that to stop. And you see his projection, it's pretty good. I think it's around 13.5 or whatever, which is perfectly in line. I also think that we got to bring up a huge point here too. With Damian Harris out, obviously the Bills signed Leonard Fournette, and you're not going to see him on the DraftKings player pool at all. But on FanDuel, you're going to see Leonard Fournette's name. And if he gets activated before 4 p.m. today, I could expect to see him take a lot of carries away from James Cook or even Latavius Murray. So definitely keep an eye on the Leonard Fournette thing. That has huge impact on James Cook. If Leonard Fournette is active, it almost takes him completely out of play on DraftKings. So you'll look at James Cook. After being 6,400 last week against the Bengals, he has 10K here on this slate. And obviously, a 3-way share is a lot worse than a 2-way share. And one last thing, Greg Dulcich remains out. DraftKings gave us a gift here. Even though I don't know how much you want to play Adam Troutman, but with that Dulcich still out, Troutman's still the number one guy there. You're going to get a lot of him on DraftKings at any price.
Yeah, very nice. Uncle Lenny season over there. That will be very interesting. And so you don't think he would get added to the pool. Is that what you're saying?
he won't get added to the pool. I mean, last week he was in the player pool. You believe that, right? Last week when he just signed, he was in the player pool. So I was expecting 100% Leonard Fournette's going to be in the DraftKings player pool. Sure enough, I'm wrong. Why would I think that, AP? That was just the wrong thing to think. But yeah, on FanDuel, I imagine he's mid-price. I just saw someone put in the chat that FanDuel had him. He would definitely be in play just because 7K. Yeah, I think that's still in play because he's going to get involved. I mean, they're not a huge believer in James Cook, it doesn't seem. And Latavius Murray's been getting a lot of carries anyway, too. Hard to imagine that Lenny would be much worse than Murray has been.
Yeah, very good. So I am excited for tonight's game. I think we see some offense, mainly on one side of the ball. So when we look at the Broncos, ever since getting absolutely pounded by the Dolphins, they're 3-2. That's not bad for our AFC West rivals in the Broncos, and coming off a win against my Chiefs, very impressive. I think great win for them. I'm not discrediting that at all, but I mean, come on, I'm not a buyer on this team. I actually think it's an absolute smash spot for the Bills. I think the Bills rebound after losing to the Bengals. And when you look at the Bills' schedule, this tonight, there's no way they're looking ahead. They have to win the next two games. They have to take care of business. They got to just destroy this Broncos team and then the Jets, because after that, they got Philly, Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers. Like Philly, Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers after the next two games. This is a must win, and it's a must. They got to come out, take care of business, and get it done. And I think they do. I think I already put a bet in, Bills -7. I think they come out, and I think we see a game kind of like what we saw when they faced the Dolphins when they absolutely pounded them. That's kind of like from a macro point of view, what my thoughts are on this slate. Rubio, give us your thoughts and then walk us through the base build.
Yeah, I think I'm with you guys. I think that the Bills are going to, take care of business tonight. I mean, they need to, right? The Denver defense has been a little bit better lately, but obviously still struggles. And I think we actually see some points, which would be nice for a primetime game. We haven't had points in a little bit now. We had the Monday night game against the Jets Chargers. They fed us a terrible Thursday night game, a terrible Sunday morning, a terrible Sunday night. But perhaps we're actually going to get above 40 points tonight. And it would be nice to see this Bills defense still, they're still hurting. They definitely have not been the same with when Milano went down. Their secondary's obviously been banged up too. It creates for a nice environment too, a game environment that if Denver's chasing, I think that they'll be able to move the ball. But yeah, this Bills offense, God, if Josh Allen can just stop turning it over, shooting himself.
Exactly.
That's literally the only thing that's really going to prevent us. And you're going to see here just it's trying to jam in both Diggs and Allen. And the one caveat is it's not the captain, right? You're going to try and get Russ, Allen, Diggs, the three guys with the highest floors on the slate by far. And then at captain, you're going to see Javonte Williams, who I really like tonight. Then Adam Troutman, 15% owned in the captain slot, right? Like I said, it funnels to the same bill. It's not something that you want to get carried away on. But you're going to see a punt captain likely be a little bit more popular than you usually expected to see. This is without touching any of the builds, too. So if you're assuming that Lenny is not going to be in the running back rotation, Latavius Murray and James Cook both get a bump. But if you're assuming he's going to be in the rotation, we had accounted for that in the sims that we'll get to shortly.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. I mean, if the Bills can take care of the ball, it's going to be a different game for them. I mean, a lot of these other games would have been different games for them. Josh Allen just has been so aggressive, and I think he does take care of the ball tonight. That's kind of my take. And when you look at the Broncos, I mean, Russ, like 114 yards against the Chiefs. Chiefs literally handed them that game. I mean, Russ hasn't thrown for over 200 yards in 4 or 5 games, something like that. And the last time he was 300 plus was against the Dolphins. He played that whole game despite being down, 40, 50 points. I don't know. I'm not a believer in the Broncos team. Sure, they've gotten some nice wins. I think the Bills are just, a much better team, but hurting for sure. If the Bills were fully healthy, I think the spread would be a lot greater. So I think it's a great spot for a Bills kind of, absolutely pound them. It doesn't mean that I'm running like all 5 ones. That's not what I'm saying at all. I do think with how the Bills are, on defense right now, missing some key pieces. Yeah, I think there will be some production on the Broncos side. I don't think it's going to be Russell Wilson though. Like that. So like I'm all in, like one quarterback route for me, most likely tonight. I'll be underweight Russ Wilson and kind of mixing in the Javonte Williams, Cortland, some of their, skill position players. So what's the breakdown for, you got to write up stack exposures.
Yeah, so for the base build, it doesn't give us a lot of 5-1s. When it is a 5-1, it is Bills. So that makes a lot of sense. You're going to be seeing a lot of 3-3s, and I think that has a lot to do with the pricing, right? Just getting Allen, Kincaid, and Diggs alone, that's going to cost you over $32K, right? That's literally going to cost you more than 60% of your salary. You got Troutman, who's going to be a very popular punt. We also if we organize it by salary, just come from the bottom up. You're going to see like little Jordan Humphrey. He's also a guy who's going to be popping just a bit. Troutman's going to be popping. And ultimately, if you get rid of the Latavius Murray value, which if Lenny is not in the rotation at all, right? If he's not elevated up in the practice squad, Latavius Murray is a great play at 1,800. But you look at it, there's not a ton of options below 3K. Maybe Trent Sherfield, who's taken up since without Dawson Knox, they've spread out the field a little bit. They've gone a little bit more 3-4 wide receiver sets and stuff. And he's been playing a lot too. So Sherfield and even Deontay Hardy could be considered in a sense.
What does it look like for the receiver side on the Bills receiving core? I think Shakir, our boy, he's got to be one of the best plays on the slate too. Kind of taking over that Gabe Davis role a little bit. And then it's Kincaid. I mean, he's been absolutely the man, and getting a ton of snaps and then targets as well. Like I love these scripts where it's like Allen, I like Diggs, Shakir, and Kincaid. I don't know if you play them all together. That's not what I'm saying, but I want to be heavily exposed to kind of that group right there. I'm a little torn on what to do right now currently with the running back situation. Like I think the Bills smash them, and then naturally in a script like that, it would be pro running back playing on the script. But we saw with the Cowboys yesterday. I mean, Tony Pollard. I mean, did you see that video going around? It was Office Space, the Milton, like the cutting the pie, and it was all the touchdowns going around. I thought that was
Tony
great.
Pollard.
Yeah. Everyone's getting a touchdown, piece of cake, except for him. What's your thoughts, just kind of big picture, on the receiving core for the Bills right now?
Yeah, I mean, Davis is still getting a ton of snaps, still playing almost all the entire game and stuff. So I don't want to completely rule him out, but there is very clearly the fact that Khalil Shakir has stepped up without Dawson Knox, and they're finally spreading out the offense a little bit. It just made no sense for this offense to go with what do they call it, the 1.5. Dalton Kincaid's a hybrid, he's in between. Nah, just get all your best players out there. Shakir stepped up over the last 2 weeks. It's no surprise to see. I mean, the dude was a stud at Boise State, and he started out really slow. He had a bad training camp, he had a bad preseason, but ultimately, if he's settling into that role now, as long as Knox remains out, 4,400 is still a bargain. I think he is the third guy that Allen looks to after Kincaid and Diggs. And Gabe Davis still has that upside, though. I mean, 2 weeks ago, he was still in the optimal lineup against the Bucs, wasn't he? He still got there, and I don't want to judge him off one game where he didn't get a catch, but he's definitely hurting without a catch against the Bengals. But I do think that Shakir is still the main guy in that role.
Yeah, he's got such a low floor and such a high ceiling. So you don't, like, if you're multi-entering, which most of us do, you don't just randomly blindly fade him. That's definitely not the path. What are you doing with the Broncos receiving core?
Broncos receiving core is just a little bit of a blur, right? So I hadn't checked out the snaps. It's actually what I was pulling up now. So whenever the Bills snap counts, it's very even split at running back, right? When we go to the Broncos snap counts, I really wanted to check the running back situation out, and I wanted to check the wide receiver situation out. So the Broncos had a bye last week. No, they beat the Chiefs. Was that 2 weeks ago or just
no? Yeah, they had a bye.
Week 8. All right, so let me go ahead and pull up these Week 8 snap counts. No one got healthy over the bye that was really hurting. I guess Judy, if you want to consider that hamstring that was hurting. But you see a very soft price tag here. It's not bad at all, right? $7K for Sutton, $6.8K for Judy. And when you immediately look at the snap counts, the two things that pop up is that Judy and Sutton are the main guys, and little Jordan Humphrey also got a red zone target last week and plays a decent bit. That would be decent leverage off Troutman, who is projected for triple the ownership as things stand. And Troutman's going to be good too.
Yeah, Marvin Mims, his snap counts ticked up a little bit too. I think almost 40%, 39%, 28 snaps in week 8 against the Chiefs, which was a high on the season. Now, they didn't need to throw it deep, and Kansas City's been very good against opposing receivers. So I don't know. Maybe what's his price?
3,800.
Oh, okay. I was expecting him to be like 7%. What? All right. So can you move you see that thing that's popped up? Yeah. Can you go? So we're still in the base build, right?
Yes.
Can you sort it by exposure and then go like highest owned and then go to the captains? I just want to see what's going on there.
Yeah, 100%. We gotta do this,
and then we'll pull up our sim builds.
Get rid of wide receiver, boom, boom, and exposure.
Okay, so yeah, and that makes sense. It's trying to force in a lot of cheap players because it wants to fill the flex position in with our studs. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Sutton, Judy, etc. And the one thing I like about these Bill slates is, the captain spot. We don't have to, traditionally it's not like these other games that we've been seeing on prime time. As Snyder says, primetime unders continues to crush. Will that happen tonight? I'm not sure, but 47.5. I mean, it's a tough bet right now, betting the primetime overs. But if you look at the last captains this season for the Bills optimals, T. Higgins in their last game, obviously, and then Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Travis Etienne, Josh Allen, Bills defense, James Cook, Stephon Diggs. So, I mean, it's and this is where whenever we get a Bills, similar to like the Chiefs and these other teams where the target tree is very predictable, I keep it simple. I keep it really simple. I define my captain pool to, the key guys. And tonight, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen. I'm not going to just have two captains, but I definitely want a Bills player in the captain spot. I do got to figure out the running back situation, but my point there is I think we see a skill position in the captain spot.
Yeah.
Let's get over let's move on from the base build. Let's get over to, did you add a kind of bias? Like, what's your script that you're thinking about running tonight?
Yeah, so you'll see here. Let's go ahead and get these projections up. I'm extremely high on Javonte Williams. I bumped him up a couple points from the RPS projection. I'm high on Kincaid. Kind of gave the passing game of the Broncos just in a trail script. I think Javonte, first time he's played over 60% of the snaps was a couple weeks ago. The bye week helps a guy like that who came into the season with an injury. Another week to get rested. I think Javonte crushes today. He's a guy I bumped up. Judy, Sutton, gave him a bump up just because I think they're going to be able to move the ball. This Bills defense just worries me, but Allen, Diggs still high. Shakir, I gave it. Look at that. We were high on Shakir. We're lower on Davis. I gave him the same projection in the end all be all. However, like you said, we don't want to completely eliminate Davis because that upside is immense. He's still one of the best guys for a showdown format in large field tournaments, without a doubt. Let's see. P. Ryan. So Jaleel McLaughlin's snaps went down all the way to 11%, and P. Ryan is out snapping him like 25% to 10%, whatever, based on last game. So P. Ryan got a little bit of a bump. I should probably bump down McLaughlin just slightly, even a little bit more, because his role could be being phased out completely. Troutman, I gave it a small bump down. I don't think they love to utilize the tight end. Sherfield's there. Deontay Hardy, again, only played 3 snaps last week. Still getting a little bit too much respect in projections in my mind. So gave him a slight tick down, but didn't want to eliminate anyone fully. But yeah, you can kind of see I'm high on the Broncos skill players and obviously jamming in the Bill studs.
It is crazy. So McLaughlin, just from, watching that game, like thinking back, so going back 2 weeks now, it seemed like he was very involved in, the production relative to how much he was actually out there was pretty high. 4 rush attempts, 2 targets, or 2 receptions on 2 targets. But you look at the snap counts, like 17%. So he was, 11%. He was only out there for 8 snaps against Kansas City. So really interesting. I like this comment too from where is it from Andrew? Nice name, Andrew Caldwell. P Ryan dump offs and trailing script. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think they still like Javonte in the passing game too, but we just saw it. Who was it? God, who Michael Carter get there a couple games ago on the dump off scripts and the 2-minute drill. They definitely like P Ryan. However, did have a key drop a couple games ago. Not that would stop him from trusting him or anything like that, but I think that's a fourth quarter thing. Maybe hope you get there. I think P Ryan's price is definitely cheap enough in the flex. I just realized that it's only $1,400. I can definitely get behind P Ryan getting a few catches in this one. Maybe just getting involved in general. I mean, his role is much smaller than what people thought coming into the season. Obviously, when Javonte ended up actually starting the season, people were shocked. But his snaps have waned from 50% all the way down to 17% in week 5. So things are looking a lot better. Or week 6, I should say. Things are looking a lot better if he's going to get 30% of the snaps at this tag. Definitely something you can get behind.
Yeah. All right. So let's do this. If you're good with it, let's go to the captain pool, and one way to clean it up is just without manipulating numbers at all, is just unchecking captains. So are you going to run any Russ Wilson captain builds?
No, well, you know what?
I mean, don't let me talk you off anything. He is like my first X. I'm not playing freaking Russ Wilson in the captain. Now, since I said that, he's probably going to be optimal in the captain spot because that's naturally how it happens. But I am not having Russ at the captain in any of my builds.
You ready to hit the argument?
I refuse. Yeah. I want to hear that. I definitely do, because you could. I will listen to my guy Rubio, and you could talk me back into it. So I gotta hear the argument for Russ.
Captain rushing yards this season, he's only had 2 games where he didn't rush really at all. He got 1 yard, 0 yard. In the other 6 games, he's gotten 56 yards rushing, 13, 49, 31, 21, 30. He has been a little bit more mobile this year, I would say. I think he's looked a little bit better and more willing to run it. He's a guy who 100% could get 1 rushing touchdown and be the optimal guy, because he's a 3K discount off of Josh Allen. He's a 3K discount off of Stephon Diggs. His receivers aren't incredibly consistent. I finally got the snap counts up. 80% of the snaps to Sutton, 60% for Judy. I don't think a skill player other than Javonte Williams is going to step up and just take the captain from the Broncos and be optimal with it, other than Russ. And it would take a rushing touchdown. We're banking on that. But his rushing attempts have been pretty good lately. I mean, he had 6, 0, 4, 7, 4, 1, 8. Like I think if anyone can do it with their legs, I don't want to discount Russ on doing it, just because he has been really effective in running the ball this season at times.
All right, can you pull? I got to see these Russ Wilson builds, because pricing does matter, and he is a nice discount off of the Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs of the world. Can you pull up the Russ Wilson captain builds? So we got Russ, Javonte. So that build right there, you are capturing the touchdown upsides by getting Russ, Javonte. Russ could toss Javonte Williams a touchdown too. You got Sutton in there, kicker. I mean, it's a good build. I will say it's a good build. On the other side, you need Diggs to underwhelm, and you need Allen to maybe pepper Shakir with balls or run one in. Possible outcome. So yeah, I could get on board with that build.
Yeah. I think you got your boy Marvin Mims here too. What I really want to see is if there's a Russell Wilson one with Allen, Diggs, and Javonte Williams.
Marvin freaking Mims, my boy. No way.
Yeah, you brought him up. No.
I know, I did. But I was expecting he'd be like 800, not like 3,800.
Did we get any Diggs in this? I don't know if it's possible.
He's like what? He's priced close to Shakir, which is, I mean, that's, come on.
It would be possible. I'm kind of disappointed that they wouldn't give it. They wouldn't give us it to it. It probably shows not the most efficient build in the world, but there is multiple punts to make it happen. But yeah.
And Snyder, brings up such a great point right here. Kincaid's role is massive. He's been awesome, and I love attacking Denver with tight ends. I mean, let's look at it. So, it has to be one of the top Flowchart spots out there if I pulled that up. Travis Kelce has historically just smashed this team. The game at home, 9 receptions, 124 yards. Luke Musgrave had an okay day against them. Conklin smashed. Cole Kmet, 2 touchdowns back in week 4. So tight ends has been one of the best spots against this Denver defense. So Dalton Kincaid, definitely someone we want to be high on. And then the Troutman thing too. Like I'm kind of on board with him as well. It might be a nice little tight end slate. Who knows?
Yeah, the old double tight end on Showdown. What's more on brand than that? I mean, Conklin ended up getting there on the optimal with a couple of big catches in the last drive for the second week in a row. Troutman's case too, you don't need much, right? We have such a stud-heavy slate with Josh Allen and Diggs being at the top, Kincaid being such a great play there at 8.42 as well, and then you can even captain him tonight. Just looking over these captain builds with Kincaid. You will need punts tonight, I think. And it's a little different tune than I was singing last night, where I didn't think you need punts. And then this one, guys like Little Jordan Humphrey getting 30% of the snaps, guys like Troutman playing the entire game and stuff, and P. Ryan, who's getting 25% of the work and only 1,400. It's something to consider. And it's definitely something that I think we want to fit in the studs tonight and not get too cute in the mid-range. And like I said, that Leonard Fournette news, I don't want to understate it. If he is in, it kills Latavius Murray and James Cook. There's 2 less weapons that you'll want to be able to use on DraftKings specifically, where they get hurt, and you're not going to have a ton of Bills options other than Shakir, Davis, Allen, and Diggs. I mean, that's about it that I'd really want from them in that case.
So you want to hear something funny? Pulling up this. So I do like looking at specific matchups, and what I mean by that is like wide receiver 1s, wide receiver 2s, and 3s. And sometimes the thing I look at, it gets these situations wrong as far as like who is actually the wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3. Obviously, that's like a debatable thing given, team by team. But when you pull it up, and this is funny, the Bills, one of the worst teams against wide receiver 3s. Would we say Marvin Mims is like the third option? I mean, they like Trey Palmer, Tyler Boyd, Demario Douglas back in week 7. Jalen Hyatt, actually 3 catches. Zay Jones, and then Braxton Berrios back in, but that was a trailing script. So maybe it's just one of those things. But maybe a way to get some Marvin Mims love in there.
Yeah.
I mean, does Marvin Mims even have a catch over the last like 3 or 4 weeks? I better. This is like a true showdown play, right? The Marvin Mims that I literally thought he was. No, he doesn't have a catch in 4 straight weeks. He has 2 catches.
He has 0.3 fantasy points in 4 weeks.
Oh,
he
my
fumbled
gosh.
one time on a rushing attempt. No, he went a negative 11 rushing attempt is in there.
This is we the people. Maybe this is what we like. I got to look at the anytime touchdown odds.
Oh God, nothing's going to beat Michael Mayer. Yeah.
Can we parlay Shakir and Mims for anytime touchdowns? I'm gonna have to look at that. That has to be up there.
Mims is barely on the field, and his odds are 25.
39? What? 39% last week? I mean, I know it's a again, in my defense, I thought he was going to be like a $400 play. Like I literally
first touchdown odds. I thought Michael Mayer was on the field the entire time, right? He's on the field 30%. He has better odds to score than fucking Michael Mayer did.
Seriously? Oh, that's like the name. That has to be like the name value. Like name value, like that factors into like so much. Like I've been betting against the Clippers every chance I can get, and I couldn't believe this team's like. Odds to win it all actually went up with James Harden. James Harden's dust. I know we're getting into NBA, but the dude is just horrendous, man. He's a cancer on all these teams. So it's the name values. My point there, because Marvin Mims, I mean, obviously very, very, very talented receiver in college, has yet to develop yet, but again, he's on this Broncos team maybe I've given the Broncos too hard of a time. Maybe they're starting to turn a corner. I'm still not a believer. I mean, I don't know. Like, do you have a bet on this game? I don't know if I asked you that yet.
I'll tell you what I am doing is I'm going to FanDuel Sportsbook, and I'm putting first touchdown bets on Trent Sherfield and Little Jordan Humphrey at 60-1 and 55-1. And I did want to address this real quick. Vince Cano asked what happened with the switch in pricing for Hardy and Sherfield. Well, Hardy's played a combined like 6 snaps in 2 weeks or whatever. He is like almost out of that rotation. However, he does get some gadget plays ran for him. When he's out in the field, they do try and get him the ball. Problem is he's barely playing. Sherfield's playing at least 30% of the snaps in this Bills offense too. So yeah, I think that kind of explains that. But I'm with you. I don't mind attacking this like Broncos receiving core at all. They do a good job. This Bills defense does not scare anyone at all, especially with the state of things in. Alano being out has really changed this defense tremendously. And I think 11% is fair for Mims. It only takes 1 catch. But a guy who's playing just as much as him is like, 3,600 cheaper, who you thought Mims coming in would be much cheaper than 3,800. Humphrey, 200 there. You're going to get a lot of him. And my thing with Troutman is, does he have a lot of upside? No. Do you need a lot of upside? I want at least 5 DK, but he's capable of that. And these punts are going to allow you to fit in these studs without a doubt.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely with you there. So I got an idea. We did this last week, but I want to do it a little bit different. Can we make a whole new build? And I have a different flow chart up, but it's just purely looking at fantasy points, and it's looking at tight end ones, RB ones, wide receiver 3s, etc. And should we just bump up, bump down purely off what this chart is saying? Are you down with that? I'll feed you all the numbers. Okay.
Hold on. Let's go back to the Sims real quick, so we can just rerun contest Sims. We already got a pool of 5,000.
I just didn't want to mess up your own stuff. If you have all your stuff dialed, all right. So let's start with the best matchup: Dalton Kincaid.
All right.
It's the Denver ranks 32nd against opposing tight ends. Let's give an aggressive bump to, like, what would we say our most aggressive bump would be?
16-17. It would almost equal him with Russ. Let's get him equal to Russ at 17.
I like it. That's an aggressive bump right there, but I like it. This is just for fun. So the Bills are 31st against opposing RB1s. So Javonte Williams. Let's get aggressive with him.
Yes, so we are already aggressive, but we'll go ultra aggressive now.
The Bills are 28th against wide receiver 3s. My boy, Marvin Mims. I'm going to laugh so hard if he gets in the box. I wasn't high on him, but I might have to.
We're going to project Mims for 1 touchdown, basically, because it's going to take 1.
Just do that. I mean, that's already way too aggressive. Disclosure. This is, we're just having fun with this. The Bills, 28th against wide receiver 2s. Cortland Sutton. Got to give him some love.
Wait. You think Sutton's not the number 2 out playing? I think.
Or no, wait. Well, this I'm going off what the sheet says. So who do you think
Judy? No,
Judy.
I think it's Sutton. I don't think it matters either. I think Judy will play a little bit more inside too. With the wide receiver 2 role would be more outside.
I know, and that's why like this, it's not perfect at all, and that's why it comes up to debate. Like who's going to be getting the top coverage matchups. So that, again, if you disagree with that, or if anyone out there disagrees with that, then make the adjustments. Denver, bad against RB1s. James Cook.
So I want to battle real quick. I know.
And bring your battle into this. Okay, I'm just reading off this sheet. So
if Fournette is in, and James Cook has only gotten 55% of snaps, right? Yep. I think I'm going to give him a bump, because I do want to give him a bump, because I want to see what happens. Because look at the range he's in. He is still significantly below each of these Bills, and significantly lower than Javonte, Kincaid right now. We might adjust Russell Wilson. I do think that I keep saying it, but like if Fournette's active, like, God, I might just X out James Cook, because the role it'll just suffer. It's going to be a tough one to watch.
Yeah, I'm with you, and more to it. Like Denver's been much better over the last 3 weeks 2 weeks. Last week was a bye against opposing running backs. So that was Pacheco and Aaron Jones, but I believe AJ Dillon did have a good day. So still bad against running backs. Next is Russell Wilson. The Bills allowing the seventh most points to opposing quarterbacks. So there we go. We got to bump Russell Wilson up, going against what I was initially thinking. And Josh Allen, Denver has given up big points to opposing quarterbacks, so we can bump Josh Allen. All right, so let me get to the this goes against our script, but secondary running backs is the worst from a matchup standpoint. Even though it's crazy, like Achane, I mean, he absolutely nuked. I'm surprised that was against so it'd be P. Ryan has the toughest matchup.
All right, perfect.
And so does Stephon Diggs. So I know I love Diggs. I do. Diggs and Gabe Davis, tough matchup here. So Denver has been pretty decent lately against wide receiver 1s and 2s.
What about What about wide receiver 3s?
Wide receiver 3s, 22nd. So, but that would be Shakir, right? Our boy Shakir. Yep. Then Troutman is all right. So the Bills are 13th against tight ends. So kind of neutral.
Yeah. We saw all the Bengals tight ends eat last week.
This is a pure flowchart script. Keep in mind, and now we can run it. Are you did you rerun your builds though? I guess this is where me and you have a little bit different of a debate. I would normally.
It
just takes time, right?
Exactly. However, we do have a bunch of these pools, and I think it's going to find different combos for these teams and stuff.
I like it.
Boom, boom. And you're going to immediately see Diggs gets dropped down a lot, especially in the captain. I doubt we have much captain here. So, 3% James Cook, one James Cook lineup. Where's the Stephon Diggs lineup? It's not. It's right here. 3% Stephon Diggs captain. Hardly any Gabe Davis. I think this
I don't hate that.
Line with what we thought. We get a lot of Javonte, Kincaid, Josh Allen, who we bumped up a lot too. This is very much the flowchart type style.
I don't hate that because we're not full. Like we're going to be significantly underweight Stephon Diggs, but we have. I mean, I don't hate it. I personally would like him up just a little bit higher, but this type of script that we just ran, I think it's viable. Like it's a purely flowchart ran script, but I think it's viable. Like it could be one you could submit, and you could get lucky. You could hit the nuts. I mean, what's your thoughts?
I don't think it's that bad at all. I mean, we're projecting a high-scoring game where the volume comes from maybe Josh Allen runs one in, or maybe Dalton Kincaid scores 2. I don't think it's completely out of the question at all. We're obviously wanting an over in this script, and we are punting the wide receiver position with the Broncos that fit in these studs. And I don't think it's ever a bad thing to be high on the underdog in the script. What you just described was a Broncos heavy script almost. I kept feeling like we're bumping the Broncos guys, and that's been a testament to the Bills defense since Milano went down. So, I think this is a good script to get involved with. I do think if we reran it, we would get a ton more Kincaid just to correlate with Josh Allen. And you're going to look at it. I mean, how many Bills do we have above 40%? Just the 3 that we like, Shakir, Kincaid, and Allen. We still get way too much. We get more James Cook. I think that ultimately, it kind of plays into a favorable script here as long as the over is hit.
Yeah, the one other thing that we didn't, talk about as far as like flowchart and stuff is kickers and defenses. One thing I would do in this script is actually I would slightly bump the Broncos defense as well, mainly playing on the fact that, look, like Josh Allen is just, I mean, he doesn't take care of the football. Like, do I think it changes tonight? Yeah, I do. And that's why I'm on the Bills, -7, pretty heavy. I could almost, not like a true hedge, but like I could build a script like this and where it's kind of still playing on the fact that, the Bills could cover that spread, but it's giving some outs too by having some Broncos exposure. Because just to give the Broncos credit, they have been a little bit better. I mean, a tiny bit better. And Javonte Williams, I mean, they should be able to move the ball on this Bills team. So it kind of is a nice hedge there to my Bills bet. But my style is like just kind of going all in and being super aggressive on that type of stuff. So obviously, when I'm looking at this later tonight, I'll probably have like a super heavy, Bills onslaught type of script. But who knows? I do think that's interesting about the wide receiver 1s too. They have been pretty good against wide receiver 1s. I mean, ever since it was Tyreek Hill and that DJ Moore crushed them. But then, I guess, I mean, when you look at the matchups, I mean, one was the Jets, so Garrett Wilson. I mean, and then it was 2 matchups against the Chiefs. Chiefs have been a disaster too, so it could be kind of inflated a little bit against them to make it look a little better. I'm just looking at pure fantasy points. So I'm still running Stephon Diggs tonight. I'm not fading him. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, Surtain is still, still one of the top corners in the league and stuff. So, I mean, it definitely strikes a little bit of fear, whenever you go against him. But Diggs is still the number one guy. Still gets a ton of targets. And even when it feels like he's not getting there, he'll get there in the end with a touchdown, just like he did last week against the Bengals. I like just jamming Diggs in whenever we can. I don't think, you're getting, too out of question, if you're wanting to fade him. But because he is, 12K or something like that. That's real high. But yeah, I think in the end all be all, you still play the studs in this spot.
I just think the game again, and I'm trying to remember it, but their two last wins just feel like the luckiest wins ever. I mean, the one against Green Bay, didn't Green Bay get out to a big lead? I can't even remember anymore, but I mean, they lost to the freaking Jets. I mean, they did beat my Chiefs, so I got to give them a little credit, but I don't know. I still am not a believer in this Broncos team, and this Bills team has been tilted too. But I think we see points tonight. Doesn't mean I'm ready to take the over here. Snyder's point has been too strong in these primetime games. So, all right, man, let's get this. What is the weather like?
It's kind of windy. It's windy. It could hurt our boy Marvin Mims. On a deep throw there. But yeah, it's definitely a little bit windy tonight and could impact the kicking game. You never know.
Wasn't the weather bad yesterday in the Seahawks game? We saw kickers get it done there, right?
Yeah, the Seahawks game, it was a little bit windy as well, a little bit wet too.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's always a tough thing. So, all right, Rubio, let's wrap this up. Do you have any final thoughts for tonight's slate?
Points, the over, and we get a captain tonight, and it's going to be a Buffalo Bill, not named Stephon Diggs. It'll be Kincaid or Josh Allen, jam in Javonte Williams.
I like it. What do we have left on tap today? I know we got the hardwood show because I'll be back on that. What else do we have?
We have the hardwood, 4:45. We have the NBA final countdown at 6 p.m. as well. Following that, that'll take you up to lock, members only. I think today, Monday, is usually JSU and Big T, isn't it, on the Monday night up to lock? It's 4-game NBA slate. Absolutely awesome. I can't wait. 4 games been the sweet spot for us all season. It's a perfect amount of you don't have a ton of news. You can key on certain plays, and then you get your process dialed. And then at 7:15, Monday Night Football Print Factory up to lock as well. So that'll be fun. Big T, JSU. It should be a good time. Great opportunity for a money-making day when you get NBA and NFL on the same day. A 4-game NBA, a good NFL slate. Should be fun.
Absolutely. I agree. My take on tonight's game, I like the Bills. I like these onslaught builds. Doesn't mean that I'm fully on board with like all 5 ones. Pricing does matter, and we have some cheap pieces on the Broncos side. That is where I'm at tonight. For Rubio, I'm AP. Everyone, let's run pure.